I would like to start by giving 3 examples. Oh, false alarm. Mom, Dad, I'm bored. Here, son. Thanks. And last. Gotta get that new score, gotta get the new high score, gotta get the new high score, gotta get that new high score, gotta get that new. Now, the thing about these are, all these examples are pretty common nowadays. Everything from hearing so-called phantom texts to children playing games on their parents' cell phones to possible increase in tendinitis and potentially carpal tunnel. These all demonstrate how smartphones are harmful to your health. Let's start with the first point, mental health. Now, there's this thing called phantom vibration ring. Now, in case you don't know what it is, it's this feeling that you get when you think your phone is going off, but it really isn't. There was a study published last year in the journal Computers and Human Behavior that showed that 9 out of 10 undergraduates, just like you and I, experience these phantom rings at least once in their days. This is a common sign of constant mobile use, which leads to my second point in mental health, addiction. Now, the addictive quality of smartphones is real. I, for one, am definitely guilty of it. According to a 2012 study done in the UK, it showed that 66% of the entire population suffer from what is called nomophobia, which is, as you probably guessed, the fear of staying away or being away from your phone. When this was tested again the following year, it was targeted towards a younger audience, around 18 to 24 years old. And what happened was it actually shot up to 77%. My second point on how smartphones are harmful to health is emotional health. The younger generation nowadays, a lot of parents use smartphones as sort of a way to get their children to be quiet for a couple hours while they perhaps cook dinner or are doing work or on a possibly long-winded grocery trip. But what this actually is really detrimental to the child's ability to problem solve and cognitive ability. It's like giving someone the answer to a puzzle without really letting them struggle through it. There was another study that was done. So couples were placed in a room. In some of the rooms, there were smartphones placed across from them, and in some of them, there were just notepads across from them. After the study was completed, it was shown in the questionnaire that people with the smartphones in front of them actually had felt less connected to the other person as opposed to the people with just the notepad in front of them. Last but not least, physical health. Now, as I demonstrated earlier, your neck is craned downwards, which the CNN Health has named, quite funnily, text neck, which is the straining of your neck from craning constantly downwards at your phone. And then also, the second phrase that they coined was text clot, which is the small, the fine motors in your hands working constantly, which might lead to early tendinitis. Last but not least, in physical health, there is blue light. So, blue light is something that we see normally in the spectrum of the world. However, your phone produces an abnormally large amount. So, when looking at your phone or perhaps a screen during the night, it actually messes with your melatonin levels. It takes about 2 hours of constant staring to achieve this. And it disrupts your sleep, which leads back into mental health. Because we all know when we're tired, we're irritable, and we pretty much hate everyone. This study was done by the American Macular Degeneration Foundation, and it also warns that retinal damage is also another thing that can be caused. But yeah, smartphones phones are extremely detrimental to your own health and have the potential to do much more damage. Thank you.
All right, Chris, the attention device is a little bit awkward, but it works okay. I think probably you get all the way with half as much and you'd be all right. You do clearly state the proposition. You don't state that it is the proposition, but it's so definitively presented that I don't think there was any doubt what your ultimate claim was. There's not really a preview of what the supporting structure is, but there are signposts as we go along as to what they are. So we're dealing with mental health, emotional health, and physical health. I'm not quite sure what the distinction between the mental and the emotional health is. It seems like that material could all fit into a single category. If there's a reason to have it in two categories, it needs to be a little bit clearer. Like I said, in the body of the speech, you signposted that material adequately, and you explain concepts on those points reasonably well. Now, here's where the problem is. You explain a concept, but you don't really demonstrate that this is a problem. For example, your proof on the physical harm basically comes down to, well, they've got a name for it, text neck or text claw. Well, the fact that they have a name for it doesn't mean that it's something that is important or that a lot of people suffer from it or that it has long-term consequences. It just has a name. The blue light thing, you had a little bit more information on that, but one of the problems with that information is that it sounds like you're paraphrasing rather than directly quoting. And it sounds like that in a lot of the evidence that you're presenting. On the first point, he had statistical information about people's phobias, and that's okay. And the idea that it's addictive, that's kind of interesting. I'm not exactly sure that that means that we're all mentally deficient because we are anxious about not having access to our cell phones or some kind of technology. I'm sure there are people who feel that way about their all kinds of possessions of theirs. Why is this distinctive? Is it disabling people in some way? Is it preventing us from accomplishing something during the day because we're so much dwelling on the fact that our phone's right in front of us, or we can't use it, or we don't have our phone with us, or I need to be checking my phone? The phantom phone ring, that's an interesting phenomena, but does it really mean that people have a problem? I'm not sure that. I think you're making a big inferential leap there, and there needs to be more evidence to support that. All right, thank you.